All right. Yep, I can see that slide. Looks fantastic.
All right, it's 1:01, so I think it's time to go ahead and get started. So good afternoon, everyone. Hello, my name is Grace Arnold, and I'm the Commissioner for the Minnesota Department of Commerce. I'm very excited to be here to talk about, to introduce a presentation on a number of responsibilities that we got courtesy of our energy chairs in the House and Senate, Senator and Senator Long. We at the department got a lot of work to do, and so we're really excited about it and want to introduce some of it so that you can kind of get a flavor for how we're thinking about implementing and even what we're in charge of implementing. There was a number of things in the bills, and so the goal here is to kind of give an overview of our responsibilities and what you can expect next. Those responsibilities range from the ECO Act, the Energy Conservation and Optimization Act, Solar on Schools, the Natural Gas Innovation Act, and there were quite a few renewable development account grants that were also passed. We're committed to fulfilling our role in timely implementing these provisions, and this is, the beginning of a set of communications about each of the provisions. So I'm going to just give a few introductory remarks and then hand you over to the capable hands of our Deputy Commissioner at Aditya Renate for some details about each of the provisions. So I think, if there's ever a doubt that our team is really wonderful and really committed to our energy resources in the state, the team, when we looked at this slide, was able to point out all of the different energy components. So the dam and the various, I was very excited to see the nice picture of Minneapolis, and they knew all the history. So, we have a great team. The team's ready and eager to implement these provisions and to serve the mission, which is to be to protect the public interest and advocate for Minnesota consumers, in particular in the various industries we regulate. So many of you probably know that the department regulates or has a role in a variety of spaces, including energy, financial institutions, so your banks and credit unions and other institutions, fraud and insurance. We do telecoms, licensing, and weights and measures. So I think it's fair to say that the energy division got the bulk of the work out of this legislative session. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Deputy Commissioner Renate to talk about what his division does, and then to start to talk through some of the provisions that I know you're all eager to hear about.
Thank you, Commissioner Arnold, and to all the stakeholders attending the meeting. We really appreciate your interest and participation. So a few words about the Division of Energy Resources. Our mission is to promote clean, reliable, and affordable energy for Minnesota businesses and homes. So we have a function as an advocate of public interest in state and federal regulatory proceedings. We also oversee the Conservation Improvement Program. We have a role as a convener in areas like building energy efficiency and renewable energy, and we also administer a federally funded energy assistance and weatherization assistance programs. So there are several units within the Division of Energy Resources, Energy Regulation and Planning, State Energy Office, Environmental Review and Analysis, Energy Assistance Program, and Telecommunications. So what I would like to cover on behalf of the Division of Energy Resources is which key items in Governor Walz and Lieutenant Governor Flanagan's clean energy package did not pass, what did pass, what are the implementation details and upcoming milestones for each of the key provisions. We welcome your questions. Just given the number of attendees, we would appreciate it if you can put the questions in the Q&A box here in WebEx, or feel free to email me afterwards. We'll get back to each of you individually with our best answers to your questions. So let's start with what was in the administration's clean energy package for commerce that did not pass. So 100% carbon-free electricity by 2040. This is still a very important goal for the governor and lieutenant governor, and it's foundational to all of our progress as far as carbon emission reductions in transportation, in industrial, and building heating sectors through electrification. Clean energy first also did not pass, but we're It remains an important future tool towards this goal of 100% carbon-free electricity. There were two items here related to one related to new building energy efficiency, the other one related to existing building energy efficiency. These also did not pass, but there were several very key pieces of legislation in energy that did pass. I'm listing a few here. There's a more comprehensive list along with a point person associated with implementation at Commerce that you will see at the end. So Energy Conservation and Optimization Act, or ECO, Healthy Air, a provision for asbestos insulation remediation, Natural Gas Innovation Act, Minnesota Efficient Technology Accelerator, Cold Weather Rule and Utility Disconnect Changes, and then several appropriations under the Renewable Development Account Act, for example, solar on schools, University of St. Thomas microgrid research and applications, and University of Minnesota Morris hydrogen ammonia production. So these are just some key provisions in our view. There were, of course, a number of others. So we're going to go through some details of what was passed, what are the details of implementation, and what are the upcoming milestones for some key provisions here. So I'll start with Energy Conservation and Optimization Act. So this was a work of a large group of stakeholders, bipartisan support, a number of environmental advocacy organizations, a number of utilities, most notably our cooperative utilities. So this was signed into law by Governor Walz on May 26th, 2021. This was a result of many years of discussion and development. And it really modernizes our conservation improvement framework to provide more holistic approach to efficiency programming. Our conservation improvement program has enabled Minnesota to achieve a rank of number 9 in energy efficiency among 50 states and Washington, D.C. So it's an achievement that all of us should take some pride in. So we want to build on the success of this conservation improvement program and add on to it things that we need now in the third decade of the 21st century, which have become very germane. Load management. We have seen examples of other states in the country where the load curves have gone through significant changes. ECO enables expenditure for load management programs, as well as fuel switching programs. There's great potential to save money, to improve health, and to reduce carbon emissions by switching between different fuels, for example, fossil fuels to electricity. So ECO now allows for that. It raises the energy savings goals for the state's electrical investor-owned utilities. It more than doubles the low-income spending requirement for investor-owned utilities. It provides greater flexibility for municipal and cooperative utilities, and it includes activities to improve energy efficiency for public schools. Some key dates. We have already held a stakeholder meeting to develop guidelines for how to implement ECO in multifamily buildings so that they can participate in low-income programs. The next two key dates that are coming up, by December 31st, a methodology needs to be developed for determining electricity sales associated with electrical vehicle charging. Now, those sales will be excluded from these gross sales until December 31st, 2032. So that's the first key date. The second key date is March 15th. And three things are going to happen by March 15th. The Department of Commerce will issue technical guidelines to utilities to determine whether a fuel switching program meets the criteria and calculate the amount of energy saved due to fuel switching improvement. So similar to this, although not explicitly stated, the cost effectiveness methodologies for load management will also need to be developed by this date. So those are both critical. These are the two new pieces on top of the existing energy efficiency measures included in conservation improvement programs. And by March 15th, the department will also provide a list of pre-weatherization measures eligible for inclusion in low-income programs. So speaking of pre-weatherization measures, the department has been running a program that we call Healthy Air. It's asbestos insulation remediation. So this is an example of pre-weatherization measures. There has been a significant increase in the amount of funding that we have received from the federal government for weatherization. Now, residences need to be ready in order to be eligible for weatherization. And a provision, HF6, that's passed, it provides $150,000 a year to remediate vermiculite insulation from income eligible weatherization households. And then HF 164 allows utilities to contribute to Healthy Air. It counts towards the minimum low income spending requirement with a 15% cap on pre-weatherization measures. So this final policy revisions are underway and the rollout is pending. So we will be out with more details soon. But we believe these sets of provisions are not only important for improving energy efficiency and maximum utilization of federal dollars that we get in with the folks that need it most, but also improve comfort as well as health. Natural Gas Innovation Act. So the power sector in the last 10 years has been exemplary in reducing its greenhouse gas emissions, while maintaining affordable rates and reliability. So we have achieved in the power sector has achieved, I should say, over 40%, about 40% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions over the last 10 years. So now it's time to look at the role of natural gas emissions, especially in our heating sector. So Natural Gas Innovation Act will help us in two different ways towards that. One is a gas future docket 21565. So the Public Utilities Commission held a planning meeting on August 3rd in which I participated along with a number of stakeholders. So I encourage all of you to follow this docket for next steps. Really, the goal is evaluation of the role of natural gas in achieving statewide greenhouse gas reductions, particularly in the heating sector. And Department of Commerce's role here is to bring technical expertise and advocate on behalf of public in PUC proceedings. The second part of this is the innovation plans and associated projects. The role that the department is going to play here is, establish framework for cost benefit, including life cycle emissions, effectiveness, and our role is to again use that framework and those pieces of analysis in bringing technical expertise on behalf of the public in PUC proceedings. So the utility plans, the innovation plans are cannot be filed before June 1st, 2022. So those are some key facets of NGIA and associated dates. The next provision that I'm going to talk about is Minnesota Efficient Technology Accelerator. The goal of this provision is to accelerate the deployment and reduce the cost of emerging and innovative technologies in energy efficiency. This has multiple benefits: cost-effective energy savings for utilities, bill savings for Minnesota utility consumers, enhanced employment opportunities in Minnesota. This really gets at a different set of challenges than what Conservation Improvement Program or Energy Conservation and Optimization addresses. And this is a strategic initiative with technology manufacturers to improve the efficiency and performance of products and help them scale these products up. And there are a number of manufacturers that are based in the state that are involved in energy efficiency technologies, and we believe we can attract outside the state leaders in this area. The requirement to participate here is to be a nonprofit organization with extensive experience in implementing energy efficiency programs in the state, and to conduct research and evaluating these efficiency technologies. And we invite those organizations that fit the eligibility criteria to file a proposal for a program with the Department of Commerce. So interested organizations must file a notice of intent describing the nonprofit's qualifications and eligibility to file a proposal. Eligible organizations will be required to work extensively with stakeholders to determine proposal budget, energy savings, attribution methodologies, selection of different technologies, and a process for tracking and measuring progress. So we're in the process of eligibility determination. So I encourage all interested organizations to submit a proposal, and we'll take the next steps in line with the statute. The next provision that I will talk about is cold weather rule and utility disconnection changes. So cold weather period now runs from October 1st to April 30th. So it has changed from October 15th, originally October 15th to April 15th. So it has expanded 2 weeks on either side of that period. There is a provision for municipal utilities and cooperatives related to virtual disconnection. For municipal utilities and co-ops, reporting of disconnection notices to Commerce, as well as the local energy service providers. And Commerce can receive information on actual disconnects from all utilities, and we're consulting with utilities and stakeholders on how these disconnect notices and changes, how the implementation of that will work. The idea really is to direct our energy assistance and potentially weatherization assistance, other types of assistance to areas of the states that are experiencing high levels of disconnections. So that's really the motivation behind this and how we're approaching the implementation of these changes. Solar on schools and colleges. So there are a number of programs here. The goal is to provide financial assistance to schools and colleges to purchase and install solar energy generating systems. So there is a program within the Excel territory This is administered by Excel. It sets aside $8 million from the renewable development account up to 1 megawatt. The two key dates here are to file program plan by October 1st, and then the department approves it by December 31st. Outside of Excel, this is $8 million from general funds up to 40 kilowatt of systems. This program is administered by the Department of Commerce, and the funds expire by the end of June 2027. And then the program of solar on colleges, it sets aside $2.484 million in financial year 2022 and $2.276 million for financial year 2024. And both these are assigned to the Department of Commerce. So a few key dates for, and specifically with respect to Commerce's role for solar on schools. There is a legislative report from Commerce due annually on this program, and the first of these will go out on January 15th, 2022. So Commerce is fully in charge of administration outside the Excel Solar on Schools program, as well as technical assistance. So the launch date is planned for January 2022. So by December 31st, the commissioner has to approve Excel Solar on School programs. What's under development is a process to hire program manager. And this is broadly true. I would say this is true about Natural Gas Innovation Act and some of the other provisions that we are tasked to implement. Given how well the economy is doing and the situation with the labor markets, it shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone that qualified candidates are hard to find, and just like NGIA and Solar on Schools, right? We're competing with private sector, other state agencies to get qualified people into these positions. So we just ask for patience from stakeholders as we fill these critical positions. And then in addition to that, there's internal staff meetings to develop the RFP process and the application metrics. So these were Meta, NGIA, ECO, Solar on Schools, and Healthy Air were the provisions that we have gone into some detail. There were a number of other key energy provisions that were passed where Commerce will also have a role, sometimes a supporting role, sometimes the role purely as in grants and contracts. So the role varies here for each of these provisions. I'm listing a few key ones that we think are important. So agricultural weather study at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities campus, microgrid research and application at the University of St. Thomas, a clean energy training pilot project for Northgate, the conservation in state buildings, a revolving loan fund, which would be administered by the Department of Administration, renewable ammonia hydrogen demonstration project funding. This is for University of Minnesota Morris, a solar pilot project in Anoka County, the grant to Mountain Iron Solar in Helene. There are, again, a number of key provisions here. The Energy Transition Office, Department of Economic Development and Employment, a new statewide on-site solar PV master contract from the Department of Administration, buy clean study, and extension of solar rewards, and Commerce will be the leading agency to implement this. So although I have not gone into details of each of these key provisions, rest assured that we take our responsibilities towards these provisions very, very seriously, and are excited to have the opportunity to implement these to meet um, uh, the states and administration's goals related to energy. So we have appointed a point person within the Department of Commerce Division of Energy Resources for each of these provisions. And you can actually find this information on the Department of Commerce policy website as well. So I encourage you to reach out to these individuals if you have any questions. We will publish a copy of these slides that I showed all of you today, also on that webpage. And on that webpage, you can also sign up to get updates via email as we implement these various provisions that were passed. So you can feel free to contact me. My contact information is available on the Commerce website. Again, due to the number of attendees, we're not able to take live questions, but we do intend to answer every single one of them. So I do encourage you to submit them via the Q&A box in WebEx. And of course, our government affairs team, Director of Government Affairs, Megan Verdeja, and Legislative Assistant Sergio Rodriguez, you can also you can get in touch with the Division of Energy Resources through those two individuals as well. So at this point, I would like you to submit your questions in the Q&A box, and I would like to conclude this presentation. I see that quite a few of you have already submitted questions. I see that we had a rather healthy attendance of 180 individuals. So we're very, very happy about that. And we'll make a recording of this and the slides available. Recording by request, and slides will be on the policy website. So with that, I would like to conclude today's meeting on detailing Department of Commerce's role in the implementation of energy-related legislation for the 2021 session. I thank you for your participation and your questions in advance, and we will be in touch with every single person that has submitted a question. And if you have questions that come to you after this meeting, feel free to email me or call me. We look forward to working with you in a collaborative manner as we implement these provisions. Thank you for your time, and have a good rest of the week.